Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the Belgian Grand Prix qualifying report. And what a dramatic end to the session we had. Rain began to fall late on, which has given us a very mixed up grid. And that could well have set us up for a great race tomorrow. Fingers crossed. But before we get on to any of that, let's start as we always do by having a look at our pole sitter. It was Lewis Hamilton who once again took full advantage of those mixed conditions to take pole position for tomorrow's Grand Prix. He set a lap time of a 1:58.197 and was just over 7/10 clear of the driver joining him on the front row. In all honesty, before Q3 took place, it really did look as though Ferrari were going to take it, and Kimi Räikkönen was right in there with his teammate. However, the rain did begin to fall just before the shootout got underway, and it all really came down to the last few seconds of the session. The final sector was drying out really quickly, and the world champion managed to pull it out of the bag. It wasn't a perfect lap, but given the conditions, not many drivers out there managed a totally clean lap. However, all that'll matter to Lewis Hamilton is that he heads the field for tomorrow's Grand Prix. I really do think we are in for a cracker tomorrow. Let's have a look then at the rest of the results, and it is Lewis Hamilton's championship rival Sebastian Vettel who will be joining him on the front row. That is going to be very interesting tomorrow. No, your eyes do not deceive you. Esteban Ocon is third for Force India with Sergio Perez in fourth. An unbelievable result for them, but I'm going to talk about them rightly so in just a few moments. Romain Grosjean, a really good result for him, fifth place in the Haas. Kimi Räikkönen did look on for pole position, given how things were shaking out earlier in the session, but he's going to have to settle for sixth. Max Verstappen in seventh place with Daniel Ricciardo in eighth. Red Bull once again not being able to take advantage of the rain that they keep asking for. Very frustrating day for them. Kevin Magnussen in ninth place, out-qualified by his teammate obviously, but still inside the top 10. And Valtteri Bottas qualified 10th, but of course will start 20th with that grid penalty. Pierre Gasly will be promoted to 10th place tomorrow, but he qualified in 11th for Toro Rosso, just ahead of teammate Brendan Hartley, who looked really good today to be fair. And he's another driver, a bit like Romain Grosjean, who needs a big weekend. So a good start there. Charles Leclerc 13th for Sauber with his teammate Marcus Ericsson right behind him. But genuinely, I think Sauber will be very disappointed with that result. They looked set for at least one driver in Q3. But in the end, it was a brake issue that put pay to Charles Leclerc's chances of improving, and Marcus Ericsson had issues as well. A very, very difficult day for Renault. Not a great result at all. Nico Hülkenberg, he qualified 15th, but will take penalties, which will see him start in 19th. And teammate Carlos Sainz was the big surprise, getting knocked out in Q1. I really did expect more from them this weekend, but I suppose the points are handed out on Sunday, so they may well recover and you can overtake at Spa. But still, very disappointing. Fernando Alonso will be equally disappointed, if not more so. P17 for McLaren. That car does not look quick at all this weekend. He qualified just ahead of Sergei Sirotkin, who out-qualifies Lance Stroll, his teammate, and Stoffel Van Dorn capping off what's been a very difficult weekend so far for the Belgian, and a very poor one from McLaren. Just a couple of things I want to cover from the session then, and first up, well, I've got to start with Force India. What a result for the team. You just couldn't make it up. Just a few weeks ago, they were facing liquidation. Their racing entry for the weekend wasn't even confirmed until Thursday, and now they will start third and fourth on the grid for tomorrow's race. Okay, as a few people are pointing out, there was a lot of luck involved. But I'm sorry, a lot of drivers out there had a big slice of luck today. And as I've said so many times before, you have got to take advantage of any luck when it comes your way. So let's just try and give them some credit, eh? It's been a horrible few weeks, and then they go and pull this out of the bag today. Well deserved. Esteban Ocon was the faster of the two, but Sergio Perez did make a big error on his final run, which obviously cost him time. But speaking after the session, Esteban Ocon said, "Well, what I knew is that definitely when it's damp conditions like this, you have an opportunity and you have something to do. It's always closer between the cars when the conditions are like that. Today, we maximise the potential of our car. Last time it rained, I was also starting third. So it's the second time it rains and I'm starting third. So it's a fantastic result. It's great to perform like this after a difficult time for Force India. That's totally behind now. We are focusing on this weekend. The car has been strong enough in the dry this weekend. Hopefully we'll get a great result tomorrow." Looking ahead to tomorrow then, and it will probably be a bit of a tall order for the Force India boys to finish as high as they are starting, if we're being completely honest. But they could still be on for a very good result and deliver a big haul of points. What a story. Just another thing I wanted to talk about before I get on to my one to watch, and that's Lewis Hamilton. He described today's pole position as the hardest one of his F1 career and was clearly jubilant with the result after the session, having edged out title rival Sebastian Vettel, of course, as you saw there, in what is, quite frankly, a very tasty front row. And we look set to see the two of them go toe-to-toe for the win tomorrow. Of course, both of their teammates are well out of position, so unless Kimi Raikkonen gets a belting start, it is just going to be a straight fight between those two. And speaking shortly after the session had finished, the world champion said the following: "That was one of the hardest qualifying sessions I can remember. None of us have been driving in the rain this weekend, so I cannot even express to you how difficult that was. I didn't want it to rain. I was looking forward to it being close in the dry. Ferrari had the upper hand, but I thought maybe I had enough to get ahead of them, which is an exciting prospect." So Hamilton saying that he felt that he had the pace in the dry to take the fight to the Ferraris. But as I said earlier, the Scuderia did look as though they were set for at least pole, if not a front row lockout before that rain came. And a subdued Sebastian Vettel explained just what had cost him at the end of Q3. He stated, "It was a bit chaotic and not great from a management point of view. I don't feel we put everything together in the last lap. We ran out of battery. It wasn't a nice ending to a great qualifying up to that point. It's great fun, but obviously not very rewarding when you know you could have done better. There was confusion, and maybe I wasn't as calm as I could have been in the car." Kimi Raikkonen was also well in the mix for pole position, as I was saying a little bit earlier. And during the watch-along we were doing, a lot of people felt like he could nick pole position. However, what's been described as a fuel miscalculation meant that the Finn was unable to make a last gasp run and take advantage of that drying final sector. And that was a similar story down at Red Bull as well, which left Max Verstappen P7 and Daniel Ricciardo only in 8th. On to my one to watch then, and I'm going to go with Charles Leclerc. As I mentioned when running through the result, he had a brake issue that cost him at the end of the session. But prior to that, he and his teammate Marcus Ericsson, to be fair, looked very quick and set for a Q3 appearance. So you could say that they are out of position, and with the Ferrari power unit in the back of the car, they should both go very well tomorrow. We've seen what Leclerc can do this season so far. He's been very impressive, and I just feel like come tomorrow, he's going to be one to keep an eye on. The pace is clearly there in that car, and I would be very surprised if he doesn't pick up a few points. But a couple of honourable mentions before I go. Valtteri Bottas, obviously. He's going to be starting from the back of the grid and will have to be very racy if he wants to make his way back through the field. And so it's going to be worth keeping an eye on him. Nico Hülkenberg, for very similar reasons to Bottas. He's going to start 19th. And this one may surprise a few, but watch out for Fernando Alonso. Yes, McLaren were poor in qualifying and have had a pretty bad weekend to this point, but how many times this season has he started well down the field and still managed to grab a point or two on a Sunday? So definitely keep a close eye on him. That is it for the Belgian Grand Prix qualifying report then, and now that we know how they're going to be lining up, who do you think will take the win tomorrow? What is your top 3? And of course, who is your one to watch? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I will be back live tomorrow at 1:30 PM UK time with the Belgian Grand Prix watch along, and as always we will also be live around 5 PM for the race debrief. In the meantime though, you can follow me on social media. Links to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook and to Discord are all in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.